Hello. So I think I'm audible. I'm hoping so. I'm audible. So actually, I don't have a microphone with me right now, but mm, I think we should go ahead. Okay. So हिंदी में आ जाते हैं. एक्चुअली मैंने यूट्यूब में काफ़ी सर्च किया और मुझे बुक्स बुक्स के रिगार्डिंग मतलब काफ़ी कुछ यूट्यूब में मिसिंग लगा. जैसे बुक्स का ओवरव्यू तो रहता है, बट बुक्स के ओरिजिनली इनसाइट क्या है वो मुझे नहीं मिला. सो मुझे लगा कि ये नीड है और इससे बहुत लोगों का फ़ायदा होगा, जो लोग भी बुक्स अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते हैं. सो आज संडे भी है, तो मुझे लगा कि ऐसा कुछ ट्राई किया जा सकता है. सो हम लोग आज ट्राई करेंगे. मेरे पास एक बुक है, द डिसिप्लिन ट्रेडर. सो इसी बुक का हम लोग इंसाइट्स लेंगे आज. चैप्टर वाइज वन आफ्टर अनदर हम लोग स्टडी करेंगे लाइव में, और हम लोग देखेंगे कि इस बुक के अंदर में ऐसा क्या है जो मेरे लिए हेल्पफुल हो सकता है और मेरे जैसे बहुत लोगों के लिए हेल्पफुल हो सकता है. सो जैसे कि मैंने ये चैनल बनाया था. एक्चुअली ये रैंडम चैनल था, मतलब बहुत पहले का मेरा यूट्यूब. मैं यूट्यूब का यूज़र हूँ, बट 2-3 इयर्स बैक मैं ट्रेडिंग से इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ. स्टार्टिंग में बहुत फैसिनेटिंग था, जैसा होता है, बट ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला. मार्केट आपको सिखाता है, मार्केट आपको हम्बल बनाता है. एक्चुअली प्रॉफिट्स भी देता है, लॉसेस भी देता है, और इन प्रॉफिट और लॉस के बीच में जो स्पेस रहता है वही अपना मतलब सीख होता है, लर्निंग होता है. सो ट्रेडिंग एक ऐसा गेम है जो सिर्फ पैसे नहीं बना के देता है. पैसे तो बनाता है ट्रेडिंग. एक्सपीरियंस जब हो जाता है तभी ऑन ए रेगुलर बेसिस ट्रेडिंग आपको पैसे जनरेट करके देता है. बट स्टार्टिंग में वो काइंड ऑफ कॉइन टॉस वाला ही है. 50% प्रोबेबिलिटी है, आप कहीं भी एंट्री करो, आपका विन और लॉस का 50% प्रोबेबिलिटी रहता है. बट इस 50% को एक प्रोफेशनल ट्रेडर इंक्रीज करते हुए 80-90% तक ले जाता है. इसीलिए वो प्रोफेशनल कहलाता है. अब ऐसा क्या है जिससे कि वो 90% तक ले जाता है? सो एक ही मैजिक मंत्र है, जो है ट्रेडिंग माइंडसेट. एक प्रोफेशनल ट्रेडर अपना माइंडसेट को इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग बना लेता है कि उसको लॉसेस का सामना कम करना पड़ता है, या फिर उसका एंट्रीज इतना ऐसे अच्छे अच्छे जगह में रहता है कि उसका पोजीशन लॉसेस में जाने के कम चांसेस होते हैं. अल्टीमेटली चांसेस है, प्रोबेबिलिटी का गेम है. वो अपने लूजिंग चांसेस को बिल्कुल मिनिमाइज कर देता है, जिससे कि उसका विनिंग परसेंटेज बहुत हाई हो जाता है. सो इसी माइंडसेट को डेवलप करने के लिए जो ये बुक का सीरीज मैंने आज स्टार्ट किया है, इसी ये बुक का सीरीज से हम अ, ये अच्छे-अच्छे बुक्स के इनसाइट्स लेंगे, बुक्स के अंदर में ओरिजिनली क्या लिखा है। ओवरव्यू तो हमको यूट्यूब में मिल जाएगा, बट ओरिजिनल बुक्स के अंदर में क्या लैंग्वेज ऐसा है, जो हमारा माइंडसेट डेवलप करता है, हम उसी चीज़ को डेवलप करने की ट्राई करेंगे इस सीरीज़ में। सो ज़्यादा लेट ना करते हुए हम स्टार्ट करते हैं फ्रॉम टुडे द डिसिप्लिन ट्रेडर। सो आई होप ये बहुत लोगों के लिए हेल्पफुल होगा, और अगर रेस्पॉन्स अच्छा आया तो हम और भी बहुत सारे बुक के साथ इस सीरीज़ को कंटिन्यू करेंगे। मेरे पास बहुत सारा बुक्स है ट्रेडिंग का। जो लोग भी अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते हैं, वो ऐसे लाइफ्स के दौरान अपना एजुकेशन बढ़ा सकते हैं। सो विदाउट एनी फर्दर डिले लेट्स स्टार्ट। ये द डिसिप्लिन ट्रेडर बुक लिखा गया है द बाय द मोस्ट फेमस ऑथर ऑफ सिमिलर फेमस बुक ट्रेडिंग इन द जोन। वो बुक भी हम कवर करेंगे। पहले हम इस बुक से स्टार्ट करते हैं। सो उन्होंने इस बुक को डेडिकेट किया है टू पॉला वेब फॉर हर लव अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड बीइंग देयर थ्रू आउट द प्रोसेस ऑफ राइटिंग दिस बुक। कंटेंट्स है, स्टार्टिंग में इंट्रोडक्शन है, डिसाइड कर देते हैं। इंट्रोडक्शन में है व्हाई आई रोट दिस बुक एंड व्हाई ए न्यू थिंकिंग मेथोडोलॉजी। पार्ट टू में है द नेचर ऑफ द ट्रेडिंग एनवायरनमेंट फ्रॉम ए साइकोलॉजिकल पर्सपेक्टिव। द मार्केट इज ऑलवेज राइट, there is unlimited potential for profit and loss in the markets. Prices are in perpetual motion with no defined beginning or ending. The market is an unstructured environment. In the market environment, reasons are irrelevant. कोई reasons काम नहीं आएगा, only logic and understanding of the market काम आएगा. The three stages to becoming a successful trader. He will guide you properly. Part 3 में है building a framework for understanding ourselves, understanding the nature of the mental environment, how memories, associations, and beliefs manage environmental information, why we need to learn how to adapt, the dynamics of goal achievement, managing mental energy, techniques for affecting change. Part 4, how to become a disciplined trader. Discipline must है, ट्रेडिंग में आपको डिसिप्लिन होना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो ट्रेडिंग आपको हेल्प नहीं कर सकता। द साइकोलॉजी ऑफ प्राइस मूवमेंट, द स्टेप्स टू सक्सेस, और लास्ट में है द फाइनल नोट। अगर मैं थोड़ा फास्ट जाता हूँ तो आई होप मैं स्लो जाऊँगा, स्लोली स्लोली। और जैसे कि ये बुक इंग्लिश में है, कम्प्लीटली इंग्लिश में है, तो फिर मैं इंग्लिश में ही डिसाइड करूँगा। आप लोग AI से जनरेटेड कैप्शंस यूज़ कर सकते हैं हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन के लिए। सो कमिंग टू द फॉरवर्ड section, my unique position in the financial community has allowed me the rare opportunity to talk to and question thousands of traders, brokers, and trading advisors since 1979. I am not a broker or a letter writer. I am the chief executive officer of CompuTrack, a company that supplies technical analysis to stock and futures traders. I perceive my position as being neutral, one that allows people to open up and talk to me freely. I started trading for my own account in 1960 and very quickly became aware of the underlying psychological blocks to good trading and money management. This realization has been confirmed by all who have counseled with me. As a result, I sincerely feel that success in trading is 80% psychological and 20% one's methodology, be it fundamental or technical. For example, you can have a mediocre knowledge of fundamental and technical information, and if you are in psychological control, you can make money. Conversely, you may have a great system, one that you have tested and has performed well for a long period of time. Yet, if the psychological control is not there, you will be the loser. A good trader knows from experience that over a period of time, he may engage in more losing trades than winning ones. But money management and a careful essay of the risks protected by realistic stops will keep the trader out of trouble and ensure that on the big moves he will profit. Money management is composed of two essential elements: psychological management and risk management. Risk management stems from the psychological factors being truly understood by the trader and in place before risk is even considered. I would especially caution new traders and market participants that reading and passively analyzing your motivations are certainly a necessity, but the acid test comes with active trading under pressure. Start slowly, question every trade. What motivated it? How was the trade managed? Was it successful? Why? Did you lose? Why? Write down your assessment and refer to your comments before making your next trade. At all major CompuTrack seminars, I try to have a workshop leader address the attendees on the psychological aspects of trading. The Grim Reaper, who kills off your equity and disappears with your profits, is not the mysterious and ubiquitous they, but a simple misguided you. Media said just before she murdered her children, I know what evil I am about to do, but my irrational self is stronger than my resolution. If this sentiment reflects your mind set when you trade, then the disciplined trader is definitely the type of book you should be reading. What a pleasure to read this book. My own education cost me a lot the hard way. I can read myself into the pages. That's me. That's me. Mark has carefully fashioned his book into a comprehensive logical dialogue. It reads as if you are at his side and he is explaining it as a friend, which I know you will enjoy. You are fortunate because you are taking the time now, before you have made a serious mistake. I hope to learn about yourself and to study your craft. The traders who take the time to reflect and practice will survive and possibly prosper. हम्म, ये लाइंस कहा गया है टिमोथी स्लेटर, प्रेसिडेंट कंप्यूट्रेक सॉफ्टवेयर इंक्लूसिव कंपनी के टिमोथी स्लेटर, जिन्होंने ये लाइंस कहा है अबाउट मार्क डगलस, सर मार्क डगलस। सो अभी हम आते हैं प्रीफेस पे। बुक का जो प्रीफेस है, द डिसिप्लिन ट्रेडर इज ए कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव गाइड टू अंडरस्टैंडिंग द साइकोलॉजी ऑफ सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन एंड पर्सनल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन needed to become a successful stock or futures trader. This book will serve as a step by step guide to adapting successfully to the unusual psychological characteristics of the trading world. I say adapting because most people venturing into the trading environment don't recognize it as being vastly different from the cultural environment in which they were brought up. Not recognizing these differences, they would have no way of knowing that many of the beliefs they acquired to enable them to function effectively in society will act as psychological barriers in the trading environment, making their success as traders extremely difficult to achieve. Reaching the level of success they desire as traders will require them to make at least some, if not many, changes in the ways they perceive market action. Unlike other social environments, the trading arena has many characteristics requiring a very high degree of self control and self trust from the trader who intends to function successfully within it. However, many of us lack this self control because as children, we learn to function in a structured environment where our behavior was controlled by someone more powerful than ourselves, whose purpose was to manipulate our behavior to conform to society's expectations. Thus, we were forced by external forces to behave in certain ways through a system of rewards and punishments. As a reward, we would be given the freedom to express ourselves in some desired manner. As a punishment, we would either be prevented from getting what we wanted, causing emotional pain, or we were inflicted with various forms of corporal punishment, causing physical pain. As a result, the only form of behavior control that we typically learned for ourselves was based on the threat of pain, either emotional or physical, from someone or something we perceived as having more power than ourselves. And since we were forced to relinquish our personal power to other people, we naturally developed many of our traditional resources for success, the particular ways in which we learn to get what we want from the same mental framework. Accordingly, we learned that acquiring power to manipulate and force changes upon things outside of us was the only way to get what we wanted. One thing you will learn as a trader is that the mental resources you use to get what you want in your everyday life will not work in the trading environment. The power and control that are necessary to manipulate the markets, make them do what you want them to do, are beyond all but a handful of individuals. And the external constraints that exist in society to control your behavior don't exist in the market environment. The markets have absolutely no power or control over you, no expectation of your behavior, and no regard for your welfare. If, in fact, you can't control or manipulate the markets, and the markets have absolutely no power or control over you, then the responsibility for what you perceive and for your resulting behavior resides only in you. The one thing you can control is yourself. As a trader, you have the power either to give yourself money or to give your money to other traders. And the ways in which you choose to do this will be determined by a number of psychological factors that have little or nothing to do with the markets. And this will be so until you acquire some new skills and also learn how to adapt yourself to suit conditions as they exist in the market environment. To operate successfully in this environment, you will need to learn how to control yourself in ways that may be completely alien to you. You will also have to learn how to grant yourself the mental freedom to shift your perspective, to notice alternative possibilities, to getting what you want in the trading arena, regardless of your expectation of how you are going to get it. There are only a few traders who have come to the realization that they alone are completely responsible for the outcome of their actions. Even fewer are those who have accepted the psychological implications of that realization and know what to do about it. Rarely do any of us grow up learning how to operate in an arena that allows for complete freedom of creative expression with no external structure to restrict it in any way. In the trading environment, you will have to make up your own rules and then have the discipline to abide by them. The problem is price movement is fluid, always in motion, quite unlike the highly structured events that most of us are accustomed to. In the market environment, The decisions that confront you are as endless as the price movements you intend to take advantage of. You don't have to decide to participate. You also have to decide when to enter, how long to stay in, and under what conditions to get out. There is no beginning, middle, or end, only what you create in your own mind. In addition to the negative psychological implications that accompany these decisions, you must be aware that even if you make the minimum financial commitment of one contract per trade, as in the future market, there is an unlimited potential for profit as well as unlimited potential for loss. From a psychological perspective, this means that each trade has the possibility of fulfilling your wildest dreams of financial independence and simultaneously presents you with the risk of losing everything you own. The constantly changing price movements makes it extremely easy for you to ignore the risk and tempt yourself into believing you don't have to follow your own rules this time. Here is an environment that offers complete freedom of expression combined with unlimited possibilities and unlimited risk. If you place in it a participant who is oblivious to these psychological conditions, one who operates from a mental framework oriented towards external structure, constraints, and expectations, then what you have is a formula for emotional and financial disaster. This grim scenario certainly explains why so few people ever make money as traders. Actually, almost all of those who make an attempt at trading completely underestimate the difficulty and consequently overestimate their ability to fulfill these inflated expectations. Therefore, most, if not all, people who trade inflict some degree of psychological damage upon themselves. I am defining psychological damage as any mental framework that has potential for generating fear. Fear results from any belief about environmental conditions that has the potential to cause either physical or emotional pain, such as stress, anxiety, confusion, disappointment, or betrayal. Painful emotional conditions are basically the result of unfulfilled expectations. Unfulfilled expectations create a conflict between a person's beliefs about the way things should be and the actual environmental conditions that don't match those beliefs. This conflict is expressed through our emotions in the form of pain that we generally label as stress, anxiety, confusion, and so on. People seem to avoid pain instinctively by building up mental defenses against the intrusion of environmental information that would confirm the existence of any conflict. These defenses consist of denials, rationalizations, and justifications, all of which will result in perceptual distortion. Perceptual distortion occurs when our mental system automatically distorts environmental information by shaping and selectively excluding certain information to compensate for the conflict between what we expect and what the environment is offering us. This will be done in such a way that we will believe a shared reality exists between ourselves and the outside environment, thus avoiding any pain. I'm defining a shared reality as a correspondence between one's belief about the environment and the actual environmental conditions that exist. If you are distorting market information, you are not sharing a reality with the markets, and you are also indulging yourself in an illusion to the extent that you hide from possibility of disappointment. At this point, you would be setting yourself up for what could be called a forced awareness. Obviously, if the markets are doing something other than what you are allowing yourself to perceive, because some, if not most, of the information the markets have to offer won't validate what you want or hope, then something has to give. These distortions will continue until there is such a disparity between your acquired mindset and the conflicting market information that the mental defenses illusions will break down. This usually creates a state of shock where you may wonder how things could go bad so quickly. In such a situation, the market forces you to confront your illusions of a shared reality, creating a painful forced awareness. At some point in your trading career, you will need to understand how all of us, because of our common upbringing, try to control market events through our perception of what we think will happen next, and then rigidly hold on to these expectations. This is where you need to learn how to gain the kind of mental flexibility that allows you to shift your perspective to be aware of other alternatives and possibilities. You may not be able to control the markets, but you can control your perception of them in order to achieve a higher degree of objectivity, resulting in a higher degree of shared reality with the markets. As painful as this forced awareness may be, they are not likely to deter you from being attracted to the opportunities the markets have to offer. However, the cumulative psychological effect on you will be very negative. If you have suffered through several forced awareness, your perception of market activity will eventually become heavily weighted towards avoiding pain instead of seeking opportunity. Your fear of losing money, being wrong, or missing an opportunity will become your primary motivation to act or not act. Now, there are several major problems that result when fear becomes a motivation to do or not do something. First, it will limit your range of perceived opportunities by narrowing your focus on attention, keeping it on the object of your fear. This means that out of all available market information, you will only perceive information that will, in effect, validate what you fear the most. Your fear will systematically exclude from your awareness market information that would indicate the existence of other alternatives and opportunities. As you begin to understand the negative relationship between fear and perception, you might be surprised to learn that in your attempts to avoid losses, you actually create them. Fear will also limit your range of responses to any given situation. Many traders suffer considerably when they know exactly what they want to do, but when the moment to execute arrives, find themselves completely immobilized. Before anyone can become successful in an environment with the unstructured character of the trading environment, one needs to develop a supreme sense of self confidence and self trust. I am defining self confidence as an absence of fear and then doing it without hesitation. Will only create self doubt and fear. To whatever degree self doubt exists as a state of mind, to that same degree you will feel fear, anxiety, and confusion. The negative experiences that result from trading in a state of fear, anxiety, and confusion will create or add to an already existing belief of inadequacy and powerlessness. Regardless of how hard any of us may try to hide from others what is going on, we obviously can't hide our from ourselves. If the market's behavior seems mysterious to you, it's because your own behavior is mysterious and unmanageable. You can't really determine what the